Nell Vitril, is happy to be giving her project number 1 speech this morning from her new manual. The topic of her presentation is something that is frightfully good. I see dead people, my one and only best ghost story. Please welcome the spooktacular.
Where were you in the fall of 1993? That's right. I'm asking you to think back 20 years. It's a long time. You know, it's tough to pull up exact memories. You might have to, push off some cobwebs there in your mind to draw up those details. It's not hard for me to remember what was happening in the fall of 1993 because it was one of the most frightening and scary and terrifying experiences that I've ever had in my life. So I'll never be able to forget or bury or push away the memory of my experience. I was starting as a junior in college at the University of South Florida in Tampa, and my mom had given me the okay to get my own apartment without roommates. How exciting. And of course, I had to find a very hip and very cool apartment because if it was hip and cool, my friends would think I was hip, right? And so I searched and I searched, and finally I found it. It was a 1920s Art Deco building in one of the oldest neighborhoods in Tampa. A small one-bedroom right on the edge of the building. I loved it. I went back to inquire about the for rent sign in the yard, and it just started raining, pouring down. But still, I got out, and I said, no, I'm going to find out about this place because it's hip, and it's cool, and it's going to be mine. I found the apartment manager's house, and when I went in, I noticed that the guy was a little creepy. It's kind of a new age, old hippie dude, and he didn't really give me a good vibe. But I wanted that apartment, right? He told me immediately it wasn't available. He said it's going to be about 2 weeks before it's ready for anybody to move in. We're refurbishing it from floor to ceiling. My lucky day! Not only is it hip and cool, it's going to be totally new. I was sold. Right then and there, I plunked down my deposit, gave him my first month's rent, and signed the deal. I was ready. 2 weeks later, I come back. I'm ready to move in. It's raining, of course. As I'm schlepping in all my college stuff, in laundry bags and milk crates and garbage bags, and I'm bringing in load after load, every time I walk in the door, everything inside of me is kind of like, something's not right. This place feels kind of weird. But of course, I'm thinking, it's because it's my first place. It's just my first apartment. And it's hip. And it's cool. So I continue to move in. Finally, I just get so exhausted that I sit in the chair in the living room. And I just kind of sit there and I'm starting to fall asleep, doze off. And then I kind of get startled awake because I hear this shuffling, this sound inside the apartment. And I know I'm in there by myself because I've been taking in bags and boxes to the different rooms, but still, all the hair on my arm, the back of my neck, it's all starting to stand. And I'm getting this really bad feeling because the space feels cold. And I mean a bone-chilling cold. And remember, this is fall in Florida, so it's warm and humid. It shouldn't be cold. So I get up and I check all the doors. Everything's locked. I decide to get some dinner, maybe to calm myself down, and then think it's about time, just to go to sleep. Just call it a day. I've had enough. Now, a little background here. I'm not the type of person to have nightmares. I don't have frightful dreams. Even as a child, slept very peacefully and soundly through just about anything. So keep that in mind as we go back to that apartment in 1993, and I'm getting ready to sleep in my first night in my apartment. I'm on the air mattress, exhausted, of course, and I fall asleep. And in a dream state, I wake up in my dream knowing that I'm awake in my dream. And the reason why I wake up is because I hear a knock at the door. But not the insistent kind of knock of somebody who's, at the door. Like a slow, weak, dragging knock. And in my dream state, I get up out of bed and I walk to the door and I open it. And outside of my door, outside of the screen door, there's this small, old, elderly man. And he's just tiny. And so I looked down, and that's when I saw it. He had no eyes. They were black, empty holes. And he started to moan. Oh, like he was trying to speak, but could not form words. I just recoiled back in fear, and I saw his hand go for the screen door handle. And he kind of tugged at it, but then I also saw the door was locked. The screen door was locked. So I immediately shut the door. This is all happening in my dream. I shut the door, I slam it, and I take a few steps back. I wake up. I wasn't laying down in my air mattress. I was standing in the middle of the living room, just a few steps away from the door. I'd never slept well before in my life. You can imagine, I was freaked out. I did not go back to sleep that night. The very next morning, I drove back home to Orlando, and I got my cat from my mom. So I figured, okay, having something in the space with me is going to make things better, right? So I bring the cat back. Sweet, gentle cat. However, when I bring her into this apartment, she starts to hiss and growl, and she goes from corner to corner, and she just puffs up all of her hair. And I can tell that she is the same ill at ease that I've been feeling in the last 24 hours in this new and cool, maybe too cool, apartment. But nonetheless, that's my first apartment, so I'm going to suck it up and I'm going to make this work. So as I proceed to go through the day, the same sort of sounds start to come from the different rooms. And I chase the sounds, and the cat is howling and hissing, and there's no calm to be found. I went back to bed because I'm exhausted. I need some sleep. Again, I lay down on the air mattress. Again, I fall into the dream state. And again, I wake up to the sound of a slow knock. And this is all happening in my dream, but I'm conscious of it happening as I'm there. Again, I go to the door, but this time I'm expecting to see the old man. Again, I open the door. It starts again with the howling. He tugs at the screen door. And I remember in my dream, oh, it's okay, the screen door is locked. But this time, it wasn't. And the door starts to open. And the hand starts to come through the doorway. And I slam the door. And again, recoil back. I wake up. Only this time, I'm not standing in the living room. I'm seated on the edge of my air mattress with tears rolling down my face. And my cat is sitting in front of me, hissing and growling. Super freaked out this time. Super freaked out. Did not go back to sleep. Skipped my classes the next morning and started to inquire with the neighbors what had happened in the apartment. An old Cuban man had lived there for about 20 years and passed on. He had no friends, no relatives, and his body had remained in that apartment for several days before it was discovered. That's why the apartment had been refurbished from top to bottom. And I went to the landlord and demanded to know why. I was not informed of this beforehand. He silently and with no questions asked refunded my money. Little did I know 20 years ago in the fall of 1993 that I would have an experience where I would see dead people. I only saw him, so that's one, but I knew if I fell asleep again for the second night, there'd be a second one, and that would be me. And that experience, as frightening as it is, has given me the opportunity to share my best and only, thank God, ghost story with you here today.